1, 2, 3. Tuesday with Tamika. Tuesday with Tamika. Tuesday.
Hey you guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of Tuesday with Tamika. Man, these shows been popping, okay? I am super excited that you guys are watching the content, sharing the content. Keep doing that. Make sure you are using the hashtag Tuesday with Tamika and inspire you. Today we're gonna jump into another fire episode. You guys already see I got my girl with me. Hey! Pomona in the house. Listen, I'm bringing everybody that was at the bottom when I was at the bottom and that helped pull me up. When I tell you guys that I live a life to inspire and not impress, and when I tell you guys I believe in lifting as I climb, that's my word. That's what I truly live by. So let's jump into the 4 pillars of Tuesday with Tamika, and then I want you guys to meet my amazing guest. So you guys already know what it is. If you haven't yet, go grab your journals, go grab your pens, because she about to drop it like it's hot. I know she's gonna give you guys some amazing gems. But before we get going, the 4 pillars of Tuesday with Tamika. We believe in living a life to inspire and not impress. We believe in lifting as we climb. We believe in turning our trials into treasures. And we believe that God has the ability to fully restore us. Hey, sis.
Hey.
Y'all, this is my good friend. I know she done dropped the doctor, but I'm going to put some respect on her name. Dr. Saniyyah Mayo. I am so honored and privileged to have you on this episode of Tuesday with Tamika. Even as we're talking, I'm thinking about when we were in Fairmount Park and we were recording. I think it was for Transition of a Butterfly.
It was.
Wow, how long ago was that?
It was like, what, 2017, I think.
Jeez, like 5-6 years ago. And we were recording for her amazing book, Transition of a Butterfly. And she was like, I need somebody to interview me. I was like, girl, let's go. Listen. And so now I'm so honored to have you on this show. I need you to tell the people all the things that you are doing because, listen, I look up to you. I truly do. And I admire not only your work ethic, I admire your marriage because not a lot of folks can like grind to the top and keep their marriage intact. I admire the mother that you are, and I really just admire the person that you are. This month we're talking about gratitude. So I want to thank you for being a consistent woman of faith, a woman of action, and a woman that just shows us that it can be done. Thank you, sis.
Thank you. that really touches my heart, seriously.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know if you have it all together, but you're just being you. And I love what you said. We don't. What you saying? What was the slogan?
We live a life to inspire and not impress.
And I love that. And I live by that. You know, just being true to yourself, being who you are in public as well as in private. Because I believe who you are in private is truly who you are overall.
That's
the
right.
public is the mask.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to be who I say I am in private, so it reflects in public.
Yes. So tell us, because when we started, I remember, I think you may have still been in school to get your master's, or you had already gotten your master's, and you were working for the schools, doing, So take us from where you are now to listen, having her own company,
I didn't
okay?
answer your question. Got it. So, as she said, I went to school to get my master's in clinical psychology, became a marriage and family therapist, got an honorary doctorate, have my own mental health company, Simple Solution Psychotherapy, author, speaker, got my show that I gotta have you on Talk with Saniyyah. So there's so many different things I'm doing, working on the screenplay that hopefully can get on Netflix. So many different things I'm trying to do, but Tamika, she's talking about me, such an inspiration, such a woman of God, such a woman of truth, and you are who you say you are.
Yeah.
Behind the scene and on the scene, which I respect, because people typically don't be who they say they are.
Man, they don't be who they supposed to be, okay? They be posting all this stuff.
Supposed to be.
You know what I'm saying? They don't be doing that. So I love this, right? And I love that you guys get to see like our glory story, but it didn't always start. It wasn't like this, right?
No.
Take them back, Saniyyah. Take them back to some things that add to the transition of you.
Woo. You trying to take me there, huh? So, I had my daughter at 16, a lot of different struggles, being homeless, being out the house, having to figure out in survival mode. And remember when I had my daughter, I was thinking I'd never want to be a statistic.
Yeah.
Do I look here or there? Okay. Never wanting to be a statistic. And so just getting out, the gutter, grinding, making sure that I went back to school, because I didn't graduate from high school, got my GED, went back to school, got my associates, because actually I wanted to be a lawyer. Interned at the probation department, was like, God had other plans, but just basically starting from the bottom and working my way to the top, and it wasn't easy, just having that, diligence to keep going even when you feel like you can't. And you know how that is.
Man, resiliency, right? Like you gotta have a spirit of resiliency. And in the process, there's so many things that happen. I know you lost some folks. I know that there were some tragedies.
Yeah.
I know that there were some, not only like physical deaths, but there were also some relationships that had to fall off because everybody can't go where you're growing, right? So I want us to take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna get into what does transition of the butterfly really look like? And y'all, we got something juicy. We about to talk about some relationships. I know y'all like to talk about that, so we gonna get into it.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saniyyah Mayo, CEO of Simple Solutions Psychotherapy, licensed and marriage and family therapist. I'm here today to talk to you guys about my book, Transition of a Butterfly. Check it out at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, my website, saniyyahmayo.com. If you're ready to transition, this is your book.
All right, so transition of a butterfly. So the stages, right? Ooh, this is about to get good, y'all. You got your journals? So the cocoon period. Man, nobody likes to talk about that period where you're hidden, where nobody knows your name. It's dark, it's gloomy. It's like you're literally in this ugly sack of nothingness. When you were, I know that you probably had some moments of that, those dark days, those moments where you felt like, dang, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm trying to do the work, and ain't nobody checking for me like that. The books, they were all here. They were hidden within you, but they hadn't come out yet. The business, the social media, like all of those things, they were being prepared. How do people navigate through those cocoon periods?
Ooh, that's a good question, because even when I was in a cocoon, you're working, you're grinding, you're doing all this stuff, and then you're realizing nobody is checking for you, as you say, and you're putting out good work, no one's seeing it. But then I'm gonna take it to a spiritual perspective.
Let's go.
I feel like God had me in the cocoon though. Sometimes God has to hide you. And so even though you're behind the scenes and you're working and you're doing this stuff and you're on social media and you're building your platform, sometimes it's seasonal. Everything happens in seasons. And I remember getting frustrated. I had Girls Gossip and Women Network. I was doing my thing. I was doing all this different type of stuff. And COVID hit. Quit my job, started my company to go and take the mental health program into schools, and there were no schools.
Wasn't no schools.
And so many times we think we're in a cocoon and we think we're being punished or we think no one's seeing us, but sometimes it's just not timing. And so going into that place, at first I was like, I was upset. I'm like, God, did I not hear you right? What am I supposed to be doing? And then when COVID hit, the light came on. Like, it's not time.
Yeah.
But then fast forward,
Come on.
fast forward, currently where I'm at today, like, man, I can't complain. And so sometimes it's important to just be patient in that stage, because we're so quick to get out. We're so quick to, just jump into it. And, learning self. We're adults, but there's so many different levels to us, so many layers of us. And I think I was such a giver to the point that I would have gave it away.
Yeah.
And I had to learn key things in business that I'm honest. Too honest.
Yeah.
Honest by default. And many times I was honest giving wrong people information. And I had to learn, you never have a conversation with a person that's not writing the check. You don't discuss numbers with a person that's not writing the check.
Y'all get that?
And so it costs me money and it costs me contracts because people are biased. It's like, let's say I go to Netflix, hypothetically, right? Let's just say that. And the person assisting the person that writes the check finds out how much I'm getting paid. Now they're upset, so now they're trying to block the check. And so there's pivotal things that I had to learn in business where I had to be in that phase, in that stage, to basically come out better. So now I'm not discussing things with people that are not writing the check.
If you ain't got that shmoney, okay?
So it's a lot of growth in that. Not even just about the money aspect, but learning me.
Yeah.
And I think before I was just grinding, and like, nobody's seeing it, nothing is happening. And then my husband kept saying, it's not the views, it's the content. You never know who's watching, who's seeing. And then I just got to the point where I stopped creating, because I used to be on my videos. I completely stopped for like 2 years. And then I wanted to be intentional, because then I said, what am I doing it for? Am I doing it just to get out there, And then God had to show me, do it for me, do it for self. And so now when I do things, I do it because I enjoy it. Not necessarily because it may go somewhere. If it does, great. If it doesn't, great. Because I'm doing what I love, and it's a reward either way.
Yeah, you said something that sparked a thought in me. I remember 2 years ago, God told me, I need to isolate you and edit you in private.
Ooh.
So then when it's time for me to show you to the world, all that editing has been done.
Yes.
I don't have to, there's not going to be any surprises. Folks are not going to be like, oh, did you hear this about Tamika? Did you hear this about Saniyyah? Because God, in that cocoon period, God was editing me. He was my character. Sometimes it be us, y'all. Sometimes God needs to, it be us, right? And he needs to take things out of our character. I had to realize, was I doing it for the likes, shares, comments, and views? Was it a pride thing? Did I feel like, because I didn't really, my self-esteem wasn't where I was posting it to be, so that's why I was doing it? God said, how you gonna operate when only 10 people was watching? How you gonna operate when only 30 people is listening to your podcast? How are you gonna operate when ain't nobody sharing, ain't nobody liking it? Are you still gonna do it? And so I realized that my cocoon period was really about God editing me.
Yes.
It was so important for him to edit me. So we transition, we get out of the cocoon stage, and then it's time to fly. You flying, sis.
I'm flying. And you know what? Before, I think I probably would have thought that was an arrogant statement, but God had to show me too, don't dim your light. And so many times I think in the past I would dim my light because I'm like, this sounds arrogant. I don't want to come off as cocky, but no, I'm flying. And not just to say I'm flying, but I want other people to see how I'm flying, to let them know you could fly too. My biggest goal right now is to build millionaires around me. That's my goal. See, so many times we're like, oh, I want to make the million. I want to make everybody around me millionaires. And so that's what I'm focused on. That's why I'm trying to get these books out. That's why I'm trying to get this series out and so many different things. But I know God is going to bless it. I remember 2007, I think, God told me to rest because there was going to become a time when I couldn't rest. And I'm in that time, and I'm just putting things out, the business is growing so fast.
Talk to us about the business, man, because you literally went from working for someone to being someone that folks work for.
Yes. I never, you know what's so crazy about the whole situation is, I never wanted to be responsible for someone else's paycheck. Never wanted to be responsible for someone else's paycheck. And so I didn't want to do it. But when COVID, I left my job.
Tell the story.
So I left my job 2018 to start a mental health program for girls. Went to a high school. The principal asked me a question, how much are they paying you? When I told her that, she was upset, blocked the program, now I'm out of a job.
Wow.
It pushed me into going into private practice. COVID hit, I was seeing all cash clients. So when people ain't trying to pay their money, the world is upside down, they don't know what's happening, so they're trying to preserve their funds. God pushed me against the wall to say, go open your company. 2020, June of 2020, I started my company and I was scared. So I was like, wouldn't hire someone, and then somebody got wind that I had my own company. They were sending like people to me to apply. And so I interviewed someone. I said I was gonna get her started, but I was trying to like not really jump in. And that girl called me every day. I wanna start, I wanna start, I wanna start. And I felt like God sent her, because I didn't want to start the company because I was scared of having to be responsible for someone else. Long story short, I opened the company, started in 2021 of April. It has surpassed that. I think I have like 15 employees. We're still hiring. We're about to get a building. It's so diversified in terms of income. I got different contracts with the juvenile hall, working on one for the school. It's crazy. I'm still getting more contracts. And that's what I'm saying. It's all about God's timing and just being patient and allowing yourself to go through the cocoon and being built so when you get in front of the people, you're well prepared.
Man, y'all. There's no like coincidence that we own this brick wall today, okay? Because I knew she was gonna be talking about when God pushes you against that wall. Well, I didn't, but God knew. So he was like, move, literally, like we moved the setup right between like taping because God wanted us he wanted you that are watching, you that have that dream, you that's in that cocoon period that feels like you're against the wall. It's not always a bad thing to be against the wall.
No.
Sometimes God pushes us against the wall to see what you really made of, to see if you really want them blessings and those things that you've been praying for. You out here praying, you out here believing, but are you really ready for it when it's time? God talked to me about being prepared. And he can't give many people the things that they pray for because they're not prepared for it. See, that you needed to have that principle do that thing for you, right? Because now, and like I say, for you, even though at the time it felt like, man, why are you blocking? Like, why are you blocking me? I'm a good person, and I'm sure you even had those thoughts and those comments, like, I'm good, like, I'm here for these girls, I want to do this. And God's like, no, that's too small. That's too small. I have something bigger for you. Now you gone from trying to get someone to hire you to 15 employees, sis.
And we're still hiring because so many contracts that I have to fill that we have to get more people. And that's just the goodness of God. When you are diligent, when I got out of self and stopped focusing on, because I used to make content like every week, and it was like, I just completely stopped because I had to say, okay, what am I doing this for? What is this about? And I think so many times people get caught up in wanting to be seen. I don't care about you seeing me. I want to impact. I want to influence people. And so that's my biggest goal.
Man, that's so good. And you said a key word that I want us to transition to, and that's goals. Because it's great to have the cocoon period. It's great to have the transition of the butterfly. How do we get into these relationship goals?
Ooh.
That's going to be our next topic when we come back. You guys take a look at our next commercial sponsor, and we'll be right back. All right, so goals. I told you that I admire you and your husband's relationship. You guys have been married for how long?
23 years. I had to think for a minute.
23 years. She only looked like she's 25. They got married at 2, okay? How do we build a business? So God has been telling me in this next season, for those of us that are radically obedient, and I'm living it, y'all. I'm out here living it, that we're going to be booked, busy, and booed up, okay? We can have all three. How do we navigate these relationship streets? Because it's raggedy out here, and I feel sorry for y'all single folks, but we're going to give y'all some tips on how when you go through your cocoon period, now you that beautiful butterfly, how do we transition into these relationship goals?
We talking to single people?
Single folks.
Single people, I have something for you. It is my book, Love Goals, A Blueprint to a Healthy Relationship. So many times I think we want to jump into things quick instead of working on ourselves first. And many times I hear people say, there's no good women or men out there. But the question is, what are you attracting? Because typically we attract what we are. And I think focusing on self and basically perfecting those things and stuff, you don't have to be perfect, but you definitely want to change. And then you can't look for an asset if you're not an asset. And I
Bars. Wait a minute. Say that again.
You cannot look for an asset if you're not an asset. And I tell women all the time, they're like, I want this man to do this for me and I want him to take me out. My first question is, have you done those things for yourself yet? If you haven't took yourself out to a 5-star restaurant, hotel, how do you expect a man to? Because he should only be giving you what you already know.
That's good.
It should already be what you're used to, what you're accustomed to. And so I would say work on you and become an asset to attract your asset.
Oh, that is good. Become an asset to attract your asset. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little something on there. I say stop waiting to be invited to the table. Build the table yourself. You'll always be eaten. You'll always have the relationship. When God was positioning me for my husband to find me, and that's key, y'all. Don't be out here trying to find folks. Be positioned to be found. When God was positioning me, I started doing a couple of things. I cleaned up my credit because I wanted to be an asset. I wanted to be an asset. I cleaned up my credit. I made sure my bills were up to date and paid on time because I wanted to be an asset. I made sure that my mind, body, and soul were together because marriage is a mirror, y'all. It may look cute on social media, all the cute pictures and all that stuff, but if your mind, body, and soul is not taken care of, when you get into that relationship, everything that's good about you, as well as everything that you need to work on, is magnified. So make sure you're being an asset. I love that.
An asset and not a liability.
Whoop, she said it, okay? So before we jump into our last segment, I have something fun for us. Where do we find these books? Where do we follow you? How do we get in contact with everything that you're doing?
Saniyyah Mayo everything. SaniyyahMayo.com. I know I gotta spell it SaniyyahMayo. SaniyyahMayo.com. Saniyyah Mayo Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Saniyyah Mayo everything.
Yes, and make sure you guys go pick up her books. This is Love Goals. Where can they find this?
SaniyyahMayo.com, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, wherever.
Yes, and Transition of a Butterfly. This was my favorite. I love this one. This one's good too. And I'm going to get some more copies of this to send to my clients. All right, Saniyyah, let's get into something fun.
Okay.
All right, so we going to play a round of If You Really Knew Me. She didn't know I was going to do this, y'all.
Okay.
So, if we really knew you, we would know your favorite color is...
I don't have a favorite color.
I knew she was going to say that.
I don't have a favorite color.
Why don't you have a favorite color?
It used to be brown many moons ago, and then I like to play with color. You know, before I would only wear browns and tans and beige, and now it's like I love to play with color.
I thought she was going to say blue, y'all. I thought she was going to say blue.
Nah.
You know.
Royalty?
I wasn't thinking royalty. See, your mind is elevated. I was thinking... All right. If you really knew me, you would know if I could watch one movie over and over again, what movie would that be for you?
That could be so many different movies. 16 Candles is my favorite movie of all time from the time I was a kid. But I really like to watch people's stories over and over. Like I'll watch Ray, I'll watch Straight Outta Compton. I'll watch movies that are based on real life.
Yeah.
It's so, watching someone's story from where they come to where they have gone is so inspirational. I could watch that all day long. Documentaries about people.
Me too. And I be like taking notes. My family be like, just enjoy the movie. And I'm like, no,
Yes.
this is content right here.
Yes.
I love it. All right, last one. And I love this because you and your husband be out here traveling and y'all be giving folks hope for these vacations. But if if we really knew you and you could go on your dream vacation, where would that be and why?
My dream vacation? I don't have one.
No?
No, because we travel so much. Like, I've been to China, I've been to Dubai. So I think if you'd have asked me that probably 10, 15 years ago, but now I've already been to my dream vacation.
So what was your dream vacation?
This is how small my mind was years ago. It was Hawaii. Something because, and this is the thing, when you come from certain places and you never been out the country, I just wanted to go to Hawaii. And honestly, Hawaii is in the country.
It's in.
And so it was so small, and now that I travel so much, it's like, it's normal to me. You know what I mean? And so now we're going to Egypt next month. So
Racks on racks on racks.
we travel.
Okay.
We travel all the time, and that's just a testament of a blessing of how far my thought process is. Because you think Hawaii, that was like big to me.
Wow.
Oh, I just want to go to Hawaii, and then it's like, that's nowhere.
Man, but this, just even wrapping it up, this is evidence of your transition. This really shows how you've gone from thinking Hawaii was something big,
Right.
to on your way to Egypt.
Right.
What would be, if you could give a young girl watching, a single mom watching, someone that is where you were 10 years ago, one piece of advice that could literally like unlock their future, what would that be?
If I can give you one piece of advice, I would say take the chains off. Take the locks off. There's no change. There's nothing that you can't do. And I think I've always had, I remember being a kid and they had Kmart, and I would walk around Kmart and I would envision myself having money, just buying this different stuff, putting stuff in a basket. And I've always had a vision or an imagination to believe that I can go far beyond what I've ever believed. And I think if you believe it and you can see it, you can obtain it. Take the chains off.
Take the chains off, y'all. That is a great way to end this week's episode. Make sure you go over and follow Saniyyah on all her social media handles. Follow me on all of my social media handles. I am so honored and grateful that you've been a part of this conversation. Until next week, bye-bye.